So the beleaguered Rikers Island jail should close permanently in 2027 as planned. But in that case, what would happen to all the community jails that have already caused so much controversy and have cost so much money? Eyewitness News reporter Lucy Yang reports from Chinatown.
It looks like the ball has switched sides again in the ongoing confusion over Rikers Island. Eric Adams at City Hall Tuesday dropped quite a bombshell, suggesting a possible second chance for the troubled prison.
Those who are on Rikers now, because of bail reform and because of other reforms, you really have to do something bad to go to Rikers. Are we as a city willing to say that 2,000 extremely dangerous people, we're going to turn them back onto the streets? I'm not ready to say that.
Former Mayor Bill de Blasio pushed to shut down Rikers by 2027, but now the current mayor wants City Council to reconsider, given the astronomical costs of shutting down the huge incarceration center, then spending billions more to build neighborhood prisons in 4 out of the 5 boroughs. Projections are those new prisons will be way over budget and way too small by the time they're finished.
We have to remain safe as a city. As the plan currently stands, it's a question that is this a good public safety decision?
Chinatown has been fighting against building the world's largest prison in this small ethnic community, which has been crushed by COVID and anti-Asian attacks.
It's just really trying to sort of destroy Chinatown and its original flavor or social infrastructure, which I just really resent.
The community has been protesting, organizing. We filed multiple lawsuits. The community board has been against it.
Adding to the confusion, there is movement now for the federal government to take over Rikers. While that winds its way through the court system, the future of these borough prisons remains uncertain.
Tonight, Mayor Eric Adams casting some doubt on the planned timeline to close Rikers Island by 2027. The mayor speaking at New York Law School earlier today, saying that the city council needs to revise the plan it approved 4 years ago and that the population at Rikers is higher than 4 borough-based jails can handle.
It was a flawed plan from the beginning. There was no plan B. So we must sit down with the city council and lay out the facts. Here's what it's going to cost. Here's how we could do this. You're our partners. Let's resolve this issue.
And the mayor also pointed to the cost of the plan, which he says has increased beyond the timeline to close Rikers Island by 2027. The mayor speaking at New York Law School earlier today, saying that the city council needs to revise the plan it approved 4 years ago and that the population at Rikers is higher than 4 borough-based jails can handle.
It was a flawed plan from the beginning. There was no plan B. So we must sit down with the city council and lay out the facts. Here's what it's going to cost. Here's how we could do this. You're our partners. Let's resolve this issue.
And the mayor also pointed to the cost of the plan, which he says has increased beyond what officials believed it would be when the plan was first approved in 2019.
Franklin County Juvenile judge is weighing in on the current state of youth crime in Columbus. She says in order to see improvements, the courts need to take a different approach.
Just this week, 4 teenagers are in trouble for violent crimes, including a 13-year-old charged with murder. NBC4's Anna Hoffman joins us now in studio. And Anna, we've been talking about this all week. What does this former judge mean by taking a different approach?
Jared, she says the courts need to do a better job at individualizing each case and also using a little bit of tough love. Yvette McGee Brown was the first juvenile lead judge here in Franklin County. She took that job in 1992 at a time when she says juvenile crime was also on the rise.
The pendulum always swings.
Former Judge Yvette McGee Brown has held the gavel in juvenile court before. Now she's watching from the outside.
In the 90s, they wanted to identify every juvenile as a super predator. Well, that's not right. And it seems like today we want to identify every juvenile as somebody that just needs community care, and that's not right either.
She says it's not easy to watch teenagers go through a revolving door in and out of court. 2 weeks ago, 2 teenagers with prior records teenagers were arrested at a high school football game with automatic weapons. This week, 2 13-year-olds were charged in connection to a deadly shooting at Easton Town Center.
Do you have hope that this is gonna improve?
Not without some changes.
McGee Brown says, in her experience, each case needs to be individual.
So I used to take great care in looking at all of the juveniles who came in, whether they were held or released, and looked at what was their prior record, what was their family situation.
Right now, the courts use a general point system to determine whether to hold or release the juvenile.
Initially, when I made the decision to do that, I was told, you're holding up the system. You're delaying their release, because I couldn't look at those until the end of my court day. And I said, I don't care.
She also used tough love.
If I've got a kid who's in for his 3rd receiving stolen property, that kid's going to spend some time in the detention center. I need them to get a glimpse of what their future looks like.
McGee Brown says an ankle monitor is not going to cut it.
They need to not have the playbook in advance. They need to appreciate that if they commit a crime, they're uncertain of what might happen. They might not go home.
McGee Brown says this isn't just a problem here in Columbus, it's everywhere. She says it would help if the judges, city and state leaders got together to decide a plan of action and if they all fully backed each other on that.
Right now at 5, a Lucas County Sheriff's deputy is at the center of an internal affairs investigation after he was caught on camera kicking a teenager's head, a teenager who had been arrested.
Now, this happened outside the Franklin Park Mall on Sunday. We're told 2 deputies were working for the movie theater and came across a 17-year-old armed with a handgun. A short chase happened, then the arrest, and then this.
And the deputy that has been temporarily reassigned pending the outcome of this investigation. 13 Action News contacted Sheriff Mike Navarre. He told us the video is helpful, but oftentimes doesn't tell the whole story.
Breaking into a home and then pointing a fake gun at a juvenile. Jessica Schmidt has some details. So why? It would be my first question. I'm sure you're going to be like, I don't know why.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm about to say, Tricia. The court documents that we've got do not explain the why or give any motive in this case. We do know the suspect's name is Julie Maston, and she's accused of aggravated menacing and aggravated burglary. The court records show that investigators believe she broke into a house in Claremont County on Sunday. Detectives believe Maston went to a home on Oakcrest Court uninvited and then cornered a minor there in the garage. Now, they say the minor knows Maston because he used to have a relationship with Maston's late daughter. Investigators say Maston pulled out a toy gun that looked like a real gun and pointed it at the victim, then said, "You're next," and pulled the trigger. The victim told police he heard the gun click, so he dropped to the ground and started recording on his phone. Investigators say the victim told them that he did fear for his life. Now, Maston's bond has been set at $50,000. We'll keep you updated on her court appearances. At the alert desk, Jessica Schmidt, Fox 19 Now.
He's created this mess. He doesn't want to deal with it.
Guardian Angels founder Curtis Sliwa taking his message from Mayor Adams straight to Gracie Mansion. That's where he says the mayor should house asylum seekers after the mayor himself floated the idea in June.
He never did it. He didn't set the example.
But the protests turned violent with heated clashes between those who support the asylum seekers and those who do not. Several people were taken into custody, including Sliwa, marking his 81st arrest. His solution to the city's migrant problem is to take advantage of Rikers Island.
There's plenty of space. There's empty buildings, one way in, one way out. They stay there for 6 months. They get vetted. They get their medical vaccines, and then they can go and get jobs.
Counter-protesters want the migrants viewed as no different from anyone else.
We are all immigrants. Our ancestors, everyone comes from immigrant families, immigrant backgrounds. And it's immigrants who built this country.
The mayor's office issuing a statement in response saying in part, quote, New York City has been left largely alone to deal with a national crisis that demands difficult decision making. We have opened 206 sites, including 15 large-scale humanitarian relief centers, and are constantly searching for new places to provide asylum seekers with the shelter they are asking for. But let's be clear, the sites we are now finding are the only options left. This situation demands a broader state and national solution.